And it's good news with Dig Baumbach. And how are you, Mr. Baumbach?
I'm doing great. And, we said last week that it was going to be a little different story and a little different show. Well, this week it's not going to be about good news, but explaining why we do good news.
You know, you had me worried. I thought we were going to go down a rabbit hole there for a little bit, but this sounds like this is going to be a really interesting show.
Well, basically, Jeff, if you think about it, we are constantly barraged with negative news, and that's why we decided to bring forth this good news. And I'm going to just give you an example of the main headlines on this is a local news television station. First headline, trooper dead after two-car collision on I-75. Second headline, man held without bond after shooting at Ocala Hospital. Third headline, boy in grave condition after Orange County shooting. Fourth headline, two people stabbed in Eatonville. Fifth headline, London police treating van incident as terrorist attack.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's nothing, and that's what's being barraged to us. And I think what we're trying to do each week is just let people know there is good news still out there.
Yeah, there's a book by a guy named James Allen that says, "As a man thinketh," and if you think about it, and that's what you become. So if you're constantly being barraged by this negativity. And I mean, some of it's just horrific. Eventually, people become that because that's all they're thinking about. You become what you think, and so you're constantly thinking about this, and it's like, how could you be positive?
Exactly, and that's exactly right. And people that I run into that listen to the show, that's what they say. They say that we're giving them a sigh of relief.
Yeah. We do. Well, yeah, you try hard, and some of these stories are definitely sighs of relief. Let me ask you a question about the news stories, what's happening in the news. What do you think is driving this negativity that we're seeing across the board on all outlets? It's not just, that station. You can go every single station you go to, and just about every media outlet you go to. And it's negative after negative after negative.
I see. I think as a former journalist, I think what it is journalism has gotten caught up in always wanting to be first and telling you about a negative situation and have forgotten that journalism over the years told you about positive situations. And if you think about it, as we look at the newspapers today, it's negative because that's what people are being told that they need to look at. But it's really not, it's almost like if somebody created, and I wonder about this, if somebody created a newspaper, which would probably be difficult, a daily newspaper that just had good news.
I was just going to ask you about that.
But the thing is, it would be so difficult to do it because there are so many things flooding in. And I think the other thing, and you with your background understand this, is that because we now have instant communication, when we were talking earlier about car accidents, we know within 5 minutes if a road is shut down.
Sometimes it's even less than that.
I know.
You get an immediate alert on your phone if you have that app, and it's like, it happened and the road is closed.
Right.
That's immediate.
And then I think what happens, your mind goes, well, I wonder if anybody's hurt. I wonder if anybody got killed. And then you might think, gee, my kids were going that way. So it's almost like, and I don't know if you happened to see last week, Bob Gabordi, the executive editor of Florida Today, wrote a piece which is just great. He said, "This is crazy. We need to stop. We need to not constantly be throwing this stuff."
It's almost like an addiction.
Yes.
It really is. It's like people cannot get enough of the negative.
Right.
And then people have, well, I'm going to be real bold. They have the audacity to say, everybody is so negative. Well, how can you not be? If everything that you are associated with, everything that you think about is negative.
Right.
It's amazing. It's amazing thoughts.
And, I think, too, and I don't know about your kids and grandkids, et cetera, but mine now don't watch news.
Oh, no, my youngest son, he's a doctor in Dallas. He has cut his cable, and he does not have any TV. He'll watch some shows on Amazon and stuff, but that's it. He doesn't watch anything else because he's tired of all of it just constantly be hammered on this person shot, that person shot, this place robbed, that place robbed, this happening, that happening. And the hate that is going on being promoted through the news, not just the bad stuff like, people getting shot, but the actual hate that is being promoted, it's just so overwhelming.
Right. Well, see, and I think that one of the things is it's like everybody trying to outbeat the other. And so I'm going to throw more negative stories at you than this station or this whatever network over here. Because like last week when I was thinking about how we would do this one, I was watching the 3 main networks. And out of all the shows, because I was able to tape them, all the shows, there were 5 out of 3 networks for the whole week. There were 5 positive stories.
That's a high number for them.
Well, but no, 5 positive stories for 5 days.
That's incredible. But, one of the things that I think about with this is that we've gotten to this point, I think, in our society that we used to be you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
And now it's like things are being said and done and created that make people guilty when it might not even become even close to being true whatsoever. So these people have to spend a lot of time defending themselves and correcting issues while the news just keeps on pumping this stuff out. And then, that news network gets it. They latch onto it. It becomes this vicious cycle. And it's not just here in the United States because, AP Wire, that's worldwide.
Right.
And if it gets picked up by them or if they're the ones reporting it, it's worldwide.
Well, and the thing is, you get to the point, like, and I still have this, my wife doesn't, where you get alerts on the phone.
Right.
And I'm almost to the point of saying, I don't want alerts.
I've turned mine off.
I
did.
Yeah,
I turned them off. I remember the good old days, and I know you do too, but where you could pick up a newspaper or watch TV and they're talking about the space program.
Right.
They're talking about, jobs and doing these different things out wherever, road work and tunnels being built and all this different stuff. You don't hear about that anymore.
Right.
The space program is space launch has been canceled for today. That's it. That's the report. And it's like, who's even launching today?
Well, see, and I think too, if you think about how it's permeated everything, like with basketball, why would a team that won the NBA say we're not going to the White House? I mean, it's not about the person; it's about the institution,
right?
And it's like, and something, and maybe listeners can send us something. How do you turn this around? I mean,
I've been struggling with that for a while now. Is how do you turn this around? How do you they say you take 2 negatives and make it a positive. Right. it's like making 2 negatives or making 4 negatives now.
Right.
It's like, oh man.
It's like a landfill.
Yeah.
Of negative stuff.
It just keeps on piling up. as a journalist, where do you think this could end up?
Well, see, I think it could end up horribly, but by the same token, I'm praying and hoping that somebody, I mean, whether it's one of these multi-billionaires, says, I'm tired of this. I want to change it around and try and do it. Now, there are websites that are popping up now. Like there's a good news website that's popping up. And it's like, people saying, maybe we can. And what you're doing with TNR, once a week you're saying, hey, people.
Here's some good news.
Here's some good news.
Right. It scares me because I really think what happened a couple of weeks ago with the shooting at the baseball practice was a result of so much negativity being reported.
Right.
And some people just aren't mentally strong, and they latch on to this stuff, and it's being reported anonymous sources, and they never name this. It's like it makes you, as a listeners, listen. If it's an anonymous source, disregard it.
Yeah.
Just disregard it, because that's just somebody trying to make some news that probably isn't news.
Well, see, and I've shared with friends and family that I had
checkered past.
I had 25 plus years in journalism.
Yes.
And I am embarrassed of what's happened now, because if any of this was being done when I was back doing it, I would be fired.
Oh, yeah. Look at Dan Rather.
Yeah.
I mean, he fell from grace almost overnight because he had some fake news or whatever they want to call it now. But it was not really. It was just a stretch compared to what is going on now. His was just a little stretch.
Yeah.
And it's like, who is the other one? Joan London and a few of the others. They just fell like boom.
Yeah.
Now you do that and you're raised up.
I was just thinking as we're talking, why don't we say to listeners that are listening to this show, why don't they just contact TNR and say, this is how we think we need to change it. Maybe this is the start of something.
I would love that. Country. I would love for that. Anyone that wants to contact us should contact us.
And say, hey, I'm with you. We've got to figure out a way to change it.
Absolutely. Let me give the contact information. The phone number is 321-806-3159. That's 321-806-3159. The email address that you can contact us here at the studio is info, that's INFO, at talknetworkradio.com. That's TALKNETWORK radio.com. So either way, either send us an email at info.talknetworkradio.com or give us a call, 321-806-3159, and give us some ideas, because Mr. Baumbach's pretty good at putting the ideas together for news stories.
Well, we're trying. And next week we will have
good news. This was really good, though. We needed to do this because I know a lot of people are feeling the same frustrations that we are, and we just needed to get that, what do they call it, the elephant in the room out there?
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah. In fact, we always had an elephant in our room that my wife and I would bring around.
Yeah, that's why I keep the feet in the back. Well, until next week there, Mr. Baumbach, have a wonderful week and continue to bring us that good news.
Yes, sir. Thank you.